Hi friends, welcome to the JavaScript introduction session. Kindly like my YouTube channel and subscribe it for the future videos and the latest videos. Now today we will start with the JavaScript introduction. In the last video also we had discussed about the JavaScript and the concepts of the JavaScript. Today also we will start with the introduction part of the JavaScript. As we had discussed about the HTML is relatively easy to learn and also to implement a static web pages which allows you to link and load a new pages, images, sound, etc. on the web pages. It provides very little support for any other type of interactivity because we can create a static web pages through the HTML language, whereas the JavaScript was designed to plug a gap between the static and dynamic web pages. So therefore, with the help of JavaScript, we can able to create a dynamic web pages. And to make our web pages dynamic, uh, it was necessary to use either CGI or Java applets. So CGI is a common gateway interface programs can be used to provide a wide range of interactive features, but it requires to run the server. Without a server you cannot run the CGI, so this is one of the drawback of the CGI. As we know that JavaScript runs on the client systems also, it doesn't require any server, whereas the CGI requires a server. So therefore user action causes a request to be sent over the internet from the client machine to server machine, then only interaction take place. And also the server runs a CGI program that generate a new page based on the information supplied by the client. So these are the some of the relatively drawbacks of the CGI. Thus every change requires a communication back and forth across the internet, which written in the language such as Perl, which are relatively difficult to learn as compared to JavaScript. And also there is another uh, material which required to run and create dynamic web pages, that is Java applets. It is also relatively difficult to learn as compared to JavaScript, and it also runs on the client, so that is no need to send information back and forth over the internet for every change. But as we know that writing a program in a Java is quite difficult compared to JavaScript. So hence we use the JavaScript for writing the contents for the dynamic web pages. Hence the Netscape Corporation developed a language that provides dynamic facilities similar to those available using CGI program and Java applets. It runs on the client, and it is relatively easy to learn and use. And Netscape Corporation came up with the LiveScript. Earlier, as we know that the JavaScript is called as LiveScript, later on it is changed to JavaScript. Netscape subsequently termed up with the Sun Microsystem, the company which had developed the Java that produces the JavaScript. So it was produced in 1995. JavaScript only runs on Netscape browsers, and at the time it was started, not now. So now we can use it in all kinds of browsers. So, however, Microsoft soon developed a version of JavaScript for their Internet Explorer browser. As we all know that Internet Explorer browser is developed by Microsoft Corporation. So soon the JavaScript introduced into the market, Microsoft Corporation has written the version which called as JScript. The two languages are almost identical, JavaScript and JScript, but with some minor differences. So this is all about the language which we can use for dynamic pages. So in the JavaScript, we use the variables and literals as we use the variables in other programming language. Similar kind of variables we can use it in the JavaScript. As I told in the previous video, JavaScript is driven, and the methodologies were used in the JavaScript is of C and C++ languages. So as we write the syntaxes for writing a program in C, C++, similar kind of syntaxes are followed in the JavaScript. Here also, a variable is just like a container which has a name. Okay, so as we use the containers at our home to store some ingredients, similar kind of containers we can declare in the programming language, which should have the name, because without name none of the containers can hold any value. So it's like a normal our containers like of names which we can declare as a variable. We use variables to hold the information that may change from one moment to next while a program is running. It means that when you run the program, while running the program, your variable values can be changed from one scope to another scope. And to declare the variables, we follow the naming conventions. A variable name must start with a letter or underscore. So the first letter should be a letter or it should be a underscore. And second convention is a variable name can contain digits, but it should not be the first letter. First letter should be the alphabet, and later on we may use the digits for the variables. And it should be a case sensitive letters, means all small a to z and capital a to z letters we can use for the variable declaration. If we declare small x and capital X, there are two different variables, it won't be considered as a single variable. So that is the one more convention of declaring variable. And also we cannot declare any variable name as a keyword. So the keywords are the reserved word in a programming languages. Those reserved words we cannot use it as a variable names in any language. The similar kind of condition and rule is applied to JavaScript also. So here example you can see we have a equals to 10, b equals to 20 plus a, and c equals to a multiplied by c equals to b multiplied by a. Now in this example so we have used three variables a, b, c. So we can use and we can declare with the var. Var is a keyword to declare the variable. So without var also we can declare the variable. No need of having a var compulsory in the JavaScript. It is optional. But however while declaring any variable we use the keyword var. The scope of the variable depends on where we actually declare it. Now the scope determines where they are declared in the script, in which function or in which block or in which division it is declared. So based on that either it is declared as a local scope variable or global scope variable. So we can have two types of declarations. So it is considered, for example, if you declare a variable outside a function, it is declared as a global variable and can be accessed from anywhere in the script. If you declare any variable within your function, it is considered as a local variable and it is only available to that function, and you cannot use that variable outside the function. So therefore, we can say that the global variables need not to be declared using var. However, the local variables must always be declared using var, so that you can understand that any variable which you declare with the var keyword within any function is called as a local variable. If you declare any variable outside the function, those variables are called as global variable, which can be accessed in all the functions. Literals. So literals are a fixed value that you can use in the script. The value of literal does not change during the execution of the script. As we all know that we have learned so many literals in a previous so many languages, which are called as data types. Okay, so the data types value, we cannot change it. The values and their rules, norms, conventions are uh, fixed to the language, so we cannot change their values. So the value remain same throughout the program. So in the JavaScript, we have the literals like integer, floating point, string, boolean, and null. So the integer literals can have a decimal integer, it can have a positive or a negative value. It can be expressed in any of the following base defined below. So as you can see the table, we can have a number system for the decimal and its base is 10, and you can express as sequence of digits without a leading a 0. So examples are 56 minus 35. So there is 56 is a positive value, need not worry to mention the plus sign. So if you write a normal numeric value like 56, 35, etc., so those becomes a positive value, and if you mention the minus symbol, that value becomes a negative value. And octal base is 8, a sequence of digits with a leading 0, and example 0452, and hexadecimal base is 16 and a leading 0x or small x or capital X indicates the hexadecimal. So examples is 0xabc, and you can see 0 capital X 1 2 3 4. So it denotes the hexadecimal value. So integer values are the values which does not contain any fractional point value. So it is a whole number. Whereas the floating point, it is a second literal, and we can have the decimal integers, a decimal point, a fraction or exponent, and a type suffix. It can have a positive or negative value. For example, now we have 23.25. So we have a pointing value. 23 is a whole number which is called as integer part, whereas the 0.25 is a fractional point. So 23.25 is a fractional point value. So it is called as floating point value or real value. Similarly, in the second example, we have 1.10 e plus 12. It is an exponential value, and the third is 0.1234. So we have a fractional point value, so etc. So we can use minimum to minimum and maximum to maximum value in it. And the third is the string. it is zero or more character enclosed in a single or double quotation mark. So single quote mark is used for a single character, whereas the double quote is used for the string of characters. The string should start and end with a quotation mark of the same type. Okay, same type means here, if I'm using a single quote, then I have to close it with a single quote only. If I'm using opening double quotation, I need to close it with the closing double quote. So here is some of the examples. The name equals to opening double quotation Dheeraj Kumar. Now the Dheeraj Kumar is a string of character closed within a pair of double quotation. So you can see starting we have opening double quotation, at the end also we have the closing double quotation. So whatever the string we have mentioned in between these two double quotes are assigned to the name variable. Now the name variable, it is a variable, we have not mentioned any kind of data type. So the a name is declared with the literal, and when we assign the value, automatically it takes whatever the value we assign to it. Similarly, if you see the second example, now greetings equals to opening double quotation happy birthday and closing double quotation. That happy birthday will assign to the greeting. Similarly, every day is new day is closed within a pair of double quotation is assigned to message. So these are the some of the examples of our string. So here you must understand that the character which is closed within a pair of double quotation, I am saying characters. Characters may be alphabet, maybe digits, maybe special symbols, or the combination of all is called as string. But it should be closed in a pair of double quotation. Then only it is called as string. Coming to the boolean, most of us we have used boolean, and those who have not used boolean till now, you can just understand that whenever we use the if condition, with the help of if condition we can able to generate the two values, that is either true or false. True, whenever the condition becomes satisfied, it generates true, and whenever condition becomes false, false means we cannot satisfy the condition, then it generates the false value. Earlier in the previous C++ languages, we understood that if condition is written, we have written two statements. The first statement is called as true statement, and second statement is called as false statement. Whenever condition satisfied, it generated first statement, and whenever condition become unsatisfied, it generated the second statement. So therefore the two values are associated with the condition statement. So here the Boolean literal variables can hold the two logical values, either true or false. Okay, so here is the example a equals to true. So directly we may assign the value to our literal variables also, uh, and these variables holds only two value, either holds true or false. It doesn't hold any third value. So this is the fourth literal of the JavaScript, and the fifth one is null. Null we have derived it from the C and C++ language. We have used null data type in the C++ also. You can use this data type when you do not want to initialize the value of a particular variable. Means I want a variable, but I should not want any value to be stored in that variable, and when I display that value of the variable, it should not show anything. It should show like a nothing or nil or empty. For showing the empty values or having empty values in any variable, we must uh, use this null data type. The examples are student underscore number is equals to null. Age is equals to null. It means that the user has not entered any value for his student number and age, then it must show the null. If he enters some value, it will store into the variable, and it does not show you any null value, and it does not belong to the null data type also. The final one is the typecasting. So here the typecasting means we can able to change the type of the declared variable in the program. For example, here the example is var x equals to 20. So x is a variable which holding the 20 value, means the x becomes the integer data type variable. So x is a integer literal, and after that I'm using one more statement, x equals to opening double quotation welcome and closing double quotation. So later on in the same variable I am storing the welcome. What happens in this situation, when I store the first value up to the second statement x equals to welcome, the x holds the 20 value, and whenever you print or manipulate, you can able to manipulate 20 value and you can able to print 20 value of the x. When it executes the x equals to opening double quotation welcome closing double quotation statement, it automatically, I'm saying it automatically, the 20 value getting truncated from the x variable. I'm repeating, the previous x value is truncated, means deleted, and welcome string will be stored into x variable. Now what happening here, we are changing the value, right? We are changing the value means we are changing the type of the variable. First time it holding the integer value, second time it's holding the string value, third time we may store any other value also. Okay, so it's all about how we can write the program, and based on the situation we may write our program in uh, such a way so that we can change its casting. So therefore, when you declare a variable, the data type of a variable is not specified in the JavaScript. We are not specifying as an integer or a float or a string. So just we are declaring a variable. Later on, whenever we assign the value, that variable becomes the that type of variable. For example, if I assign 20, it will become an integer variable. If I assign welcome, it will become a string variable. So therefore, the data types are converted automatically as needed during the script execution. So this is one benefit of the typecasting. Okay. Now, after the literals and variables, the next concept of the JavaScript is operators. So my dear friends, as you know that we have studied so many times, the operator is a symbol which tells the computer to perform a specific type of operation. So here also the operator is a symbol. In any language, you may take any language, in all the programming language, all the programming operators are just like a symbol. Those symbols tells the computer to perform all types of arithmetic, logic, relational, and so on operations. Okay, you may perform the different types of operations with the help of these symbols, and whichever the symbol we are using to perform some calculation, those symbols becomes the operator. Okay, if I'm using plus, plus is a symbol, even asterisk is a symbol, but these symbols are performing some operations. If these symbols are not performing any operation, then I cannot say that these symbols are the operators. But when these symbols are performing some operations in a computer, all these symbols becomes the operator. So the operators are classified depend on the relation they perform. Okay, so what kind of relations values they perform and gives the output to the user, based on that the classifications are made it. Now first of all we will start with the arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators performs all types of arithmetic calculations. It may be addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponential, and so on. Now you can see the table. We have a table. In the table, we have mentioned all the operators which are called as arithmetic operators and their description and also the examples. Now here I am using asterisk. In manual calculation, we use the X symbol for the multiplication, whereas in a computer, the asterisk symbol is used for the multiplication purpose. Now you can see in the example, X equals to 5 asterisk 4 means 5 into 4, and after computing the 5 into 4, 5 into 4 is 20, so the 20 is the resultant value. That resultant value will store into the X variable. Similarly, the forward slash symbol is used for the division purpose, and percentage symbol is used for the modulo division purpose. And as we know that if I use the division symbol, I can perform the division operation so that I can get the result. But whereas when I use the modulo division operator, it returns the remainder of the division. Whatever the remainder is there, that remainder is generated by the modulo division operator. For example, say x equals to 20 divided by 3. If I write x equals to 20 divided by 3, then I can able to generate the result as 3. Whereas the x equals to 20 modulo division 3. So modulo division by 3 means I can able to hold the remainder. So 20 is modulo division with the 3. So 3 into 6 is 18. So 6 is the answer that accepted by the division operator, whereas the 2 is the remainder which accepted by the modulo division operator. Similarly, the relational operators. A relational operator compares its operands and returns a logical value based on the test condition. If the test condition is true, it returns 1, otherwise it returns 0 as a false value. So the relational operators compares the two values. We have to mention the two values. Based on the two values, it compares both the value and generates either true or false based on the values. We have the list of relational operators like greater than, less than, greater than equals to, less than equals to, and not equals to. So here the examples are there. So a is greater than b, we have to mention the value for a and b. So after that the greater than symbol compares the a value with the b value. If a value becomes greater than b, then it generates true, otherwise it generates false. Similarly, the logical operators, we have AND, logical AND operator, logical OR operator, and logical NOT operator. So the logical operators used to combine multiple relational expressions together. So in the relational operator compares the relation between the two operands, whereas the logical operator compares the more than two or multiple relational expressions together. So therefore we use the logical and, or, and not operators. So the exp1 is nothing but a relational expression, and exp2 is the second relational expression. Similarly, we have the bitwise operators. So bitwise operators will convert the operand to its binary representation and accordingly returns a 1 or a 0. So bitwise operator treats the operands as bit rather than numerical value. If we have the numerical value also, it doesn't operate on the numerical value, it operates on the binary values. For example, consider an operand 12. It will treat this number 12 as 1100. So now 1100 is a binary value. So these are the bits of the 12. So if we store say 12 in the x variable, the x bits are generated as 1100, and all these operators works on 1100 rather than 12. We have comma operators also. The comma operator is used to separate the expressions, and even though while declaring the variables also we use the comma operator to declare the n number of variables. So it is used to separate the expressions, separates the variables. And also we use the new operator, so new, actually it is a character, but even though it is considered as operator because the new operator create a new instance of an object type. The object may be user defined or built-in or array object, so therefore it is called as a operator. So you can see the example also, object name, new is a keyword which is called as a operator, then object type, and in parenthesis we may have the n number of parameters. So the object name, it is the name of the new object instance. Whichever the name you want to declare for your object instance, you may write as object name for it. And object type is nothing but it is a function that defines the type of the object. What kind of object you want to declare, you need to mention its type. So therefore we use the object type also. Okay, for example, say array, we want to have the array, then we have to mention it as a array, as a object type. Then your object name become the array name. And parameters, say in the parenthesis you need to mention the parameters